All still getting there. I can see 1, 2. The Jeep one for the last well. She's putting down best. Think about this.
G'day punters, welcome back to the MacBet Saturday Racing Review Show, where we take a look at one of our betting races from Saturday and review how we went for the day. Joining me as always is Tommy Henjak. Tom, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Up and about after a solid week. Start off a bit ordinary, a bit slow, but we managed to pull things together on the Friday and the Saturday.
Yeah, it was a great week overall. We picked up 13.6 units despite a couple of wet tracks. And yeah, Saturday was happy hunting. 8.5 units out at Doomben, 18.9 back. So we picked up 10 units profit there, picked up a few units profit at the Gold Coast. So that's back-to-back winning Saturdays. Be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, pretty happy. We actually ran because I think like our results they're not awful. Like we're still winning, but they're a bit below where we expect to be, around that 10% or higher mark.
Yep.
So during the week, we actually did run like a little result summary of where we go good at, and yeah, there was no surprise that Doomben's the happy hunting ground for us. So obviously it's good to go good there and chip up when we're there, but we also need to really analyze what we're doing at the other tracks. And we did improve on that during the week at Sunny Coast, and it'll be a good test at Eagle Farm there on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a look at race 6 from Saturday. We had 2 bets in the race. We had a half unit in the morning on Hatchet and then another half unit from the yard that SP'd around the $2.80 mark. I think we took the good odds in the morning, and then a half unit on Zucchina, which SP'd around the $13 mark. So this was good. We were building a bit of momentum by this point, and yeah, helped us greatly for the day. Okay, race 6 here at Doomben from Saturday. We had 1 unit total on Hatchet, SP'd around 280. I think we got a piece of a better price in the morning. And we've had a half unit on Zucchina from the yard in the Orange Silks, SP'd around the $13 mark.
Yep. So this was actually John's race, but it was a race that really jumped out on paper to both of us to really have a good bet in. The favourite being Battleton around that $2.40 mark, just really opened up the race to have a bet into. We thought that price was far too short. Even though it was probably suited going up to 1350 meters at Doomben onto a wet track, especially at the set weight conditions that you get in these class 6s, you just had to bet into it. You can definitely see why it was kind of that $2.40 mark in the morning under the conditions. Second up last preparation, ran third to Valana, Kiss Alpine Edge, Startontes flying crazy. I think that was the Fred best. That was a really strong race, but there was evidence to say that this preparation that Battleton hadn't actually come back as good as what he was racing last preparation. We saw him at Eagle Farm the fortnight prior where he just kind of whacked away from the inside gate. Perhaps he was a little bit unlucky, or he was a little bit flat second up after a really poor performance at Randwick on a heavy track. But from our perspective, he was it was a pretty ordinary run given the circumstances. So although he was coming onto a wetter track, when he walked into the yard, he just looked a bit flat to us as well. Although he's run second here, he hasn't really gone back to any of the rate or even close to some of the ratings that he had run to last preparation. So when he's $2.40, you really do have to look hard for a bet. And that's how we land on Hatchet and Zucchina. There are also 2 other horses that were in the race that we were happy to take on in single figures. One of them being Star Gamble. It's actually going to be the black booker for mine from the meeting. It settles at the rear of the field in the wanless colours, the grey silks and the yellow kind of stripes. It's not at all suited second up 1200 to 1350 and onto a wet track. I want to see it onto a dry track up to a mile. So it wasn't suited here, so you're happy to take it on. And the other one was from A Call from Heaven. It's a horse that we have a really good grasp on. We actually backed it 2 starts ago, then took it on last start, and we're on the wrong end of it both times. But I think it half exposed itself this preparation to not being much good. It's in the yellow colours there. It gets a suck run in behind the speed and just shows sweet fuck all. So yeah, those were the three runners that we were happy to take on, taking up a large percentage of the market, and that's how we landed on Hatchet and Zucchina. On paper, they didn't look a whole lot of speed. So Bow Rider in the red and the white with for Cassidy, it punches up from the inside gate. That was always how the race was going to kind of pan out, and it goes 3.3 lengths slower than Class 3 average out in front. And we always just thought Hatchet was going to get that nice run outside it. It's a wet track type, although it didn't have really any heavy track credentials to its name. But it did come out of a very strong Class 3 or 4 fortnight prior. 1350 is probably a bit iffy on it still going forward, whether that's as far as it wants. I think 1200 is probably its go in the future. But I will preface this by saying it was pretty disappointing here compared to the runs that it's put up prior. Whether it's just a horse that doesn't have a real turn of foot and suit in a slow run race here, Ange probably could have kept pushing forward at the slow when they were going slow. She lets Battleton in the orange and Navy Silk circle her, and she kind of loses momentum around the bend. But I'm not really sure how good the horse was going in the conditions. So that really did open up the race to Zucchina, which is who we had the half unit in from the yard. The last start run 31 days ago was very good when it was caught back and wide in behind a horse called Driver Deal. It's in the orange and black Stephen Lee colours. It wasn't at all suited by the tempo of the race, being third pair there back on the fence. But what it does relish is these sloppy conditions because it has a really sharp turn of foot that it's able to utilise on these wet decks. And it was a great ride by Bubba Tilly. He works into the race at the right time, comes to the best part of the track, and really unleashes a really nice turn of foot and streaks away at the end and gives a nice little smile and a wink to the camera past the winning post. So that was a nice little half unit play there at the $15. And as I said, the black book from the race for mine is Star Gamble, who settles last pair 2 off, and wasn't at all suited there on Saturday, but it's really a nice horse to look for in the future.
All right, that concludes our review of Doomben from Saturday. Tom, you got a couple of runners to follow out of the meeting.
Yep, so race 6 in the video, I think I actually said Class 6 set weights, but it was a Class 3 set weights condition, that race. Star Gamble was the one to follow up in distance or onto a dry track. I think it'll be winning wherever it goes. And the other one is a horse that we black booked 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
I think this is my new favourite horse, Deer Trail. I know we only had a half unit on it from the yard because of the slow tempo in the race. The stablemate was the 210 favourite on Betfair Counter Beans. It was going to be suited outside the leader on a wet track in a slow run race. But I was fairly confident that this Deer Trail was the better horse, and it unleashed the fastest 6.42 of the meeting to run it down. And it was good to get some of the money back that we had on it last start at Eagle Farm when we let the shoulders loose.
Did you think the jock knew what was under the hood, or was it just a bit of an overconfident ride because it really unleashed late?
I think she was half riding to instructions. I reckon they probably would have told her to really, because last start at Eagle Farm, they rode it forward. There was a lot going in around it, tried to make an early run with the riderless horse, whereas they would have just said this time, just hold it for one run, let it show its short, sharp sprint. And you doubt that she would have known that it had this, would have had this type of motor. But this is definitely a horse going places, and I can't wait to see it next preparation and in the future.
All right,
This sounds really corny, but I do have a soft spot for the horse, that's for sure.
Loves it. So that's Deer Trail out of race 3 and Star Gamble from race 6. Keep an eye on the black bookers because we've hit a result there, which is great. Big, massive week actually ahead for us. We've got Eagle Farm on Wednesday, Kilcoy Thursday, Ipswich Friday, Saturday we've got Eagle Farm and Gold Coast. Nothing on Sunday, thank goodness, because we've got Melbourne Cup Day on Tuesday where we'll be covering all 3 meetings up here in southeast Queensland. So that's Eagle Farm, Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast as well. So if you're considering getting a subscription or a weekly, this is probably the week to do it. You're going to get a stack of meetings there. We've got tip sheets and platinum sheets up early in the morning. We'll pick off a couple of prices there, and then the boys are in the yard at each track giving their assessments before each race, and updated bets, which were very, very valuable on the weekend, the likes of Zucchina. So if you're interested, guys, make sure you head to our website, get involved, join up, or send us a message if you've got any questions about the service at all. But yeah, Tom, thanks for your time, mate. Thanks for your insights as always. We'll hear from you next week.
Sweet. Thanks, James.
Thanks, mate.